All right, all right, fine. I'll be a gracious host. How you doing?
Little Mermaid is the scariest Disney movie by far, though.
Why the hell is Ace Blade in your Kickstarter?
Some comics. I'm getting controversial today. We're gonna get controversial today with
my proudest moment is this interview and being able to talk to you two.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, Force Public in collaboration with Worthwhile Productions, respectfully brief you 82nd episode of Force Public. I am your most Arizona George Emmett, the cross the wheels of plans that basically didn't look at the young we are your two award-winning four-time players here. They'll be invited next year coming. Whoever I believe you can network my Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube. If you're listening watching this long, thank you for your support. Don't forget to like this spot, share Heathen's podcast with all your popular reviews and your assistant which makes it bigger. If you want to support us financially, you can go to our website for those podcasts. You can buy us a coffee, you can buy us some merchandise.
I can't even understand what you're saying. The voice is killing me. What is that?
What is it?
The fish said you finally hit puberty.
I did. I finally hit puberty. Thank you. All right, you really couldn't understand it? Was it that bad?
I got most of it, but it started jumbling together. What was that? What kind of filter is that?
It's a voice mod.
Is it on the platform?
No, it's a app that Sean Barbour showed me.
Wow.
Yeah,
I like that. I like it a lot. I have to steal that.
Afterwards, I'll show you it, and you can use it on your other podcast. I don't remember the names of it. You do so many now.
Sure.
All right, Danny, what's up, man?
Man, it's good to see you, man. It's been a while since we've been on the show together. It's been 3 or 4 weeks now, and I'm happy to be back. I'm glad you're back.
Thank you. How was your trip? You went to the ATL.
Yep, Atlanta. And me and my wife, we went down there because we were supposed to be at Urban Nerd Con, which got postponed. But we ended up just going and having some husband and wife time, and we had a good time for those 3 days. I mean, we didn't go to Mexico or anything like that. So, but we had fun. Ain't that where you went? Where'd you go?
I feel like those are shots directly at me for some reason.
It wasn't a shot. I'm giving you props because I couldn't take a trip to Mexico for a week. All expenses paid to a resort. And all I just had to go for the weekend.
Exactly. Kevin and Chad talking about finally Danny shows up, right? We had to have Morgan and Javon to make up for Danny not being here.
I'm sorry. We out here tripping, bro.
Kevin said, did we get answers about last Saturday? I don't remember what the questions were that we needed answers for.
Yes, the answer was I was in Atlanta and I was gonna do the show from the hotel room, but then I looked at my wife and my wife was like, "Don't you dare!" And I was like, "Okay, Morgan will do it."
Oh yeah, that's right. You missed Morgan changing his son's diaper on the live stream.
Oh, what? Really?
Yeah. That's how the show started. That is how the show started. Dude.
It happens, man. I'm sorry, man. I should have let him know earlier. And next time we'll get Javon in here. Javon's usually in here this early, or Javon or Kevin can jump in for me next time I need to not be in here.
Yeah, but I do say you need to go listen to the past episode. You will laugh more on that episode than I think any other episode we've had.
I heard it was a fun time. I did not get a chance to go back and watch it yet. I am going to watch it though. But I heard it was a fun time and everybody was well entertained, and that we will have to have Kevin Chapman back on soon, especially when he launches his new Kickstarter for Black Man. But we got a great creator on this weekend. First, you want to talk about what comics we read, or you want to bring on our
bring them on. You already started. Bring them on.
Bring them on. Hey, we got the one and only creator of the Power Knights, CEO of Kid Comics, all the way from Sacramento, California. The one and only Young
Nope.
Legend.
Nope.
Where did you say he was from?
San Diego.
San Diego. I knew it started with an S. That's why you do the intros and I don't. From San Diego, California.
Close.
Keithan Jones in the building. Thank you so much for being with us. Sorry, I messed up the intro. Kyron usually does that, so that was on the spot. But thank you for being with us early this morning.
Thanks for having me. Excited to be here. First time.
This probably might be your last after this. We don't know yet.
Depends on how you like it or not. Shoot.
It's early, so I forgive you guys.
No,
I appreciate you being on.
I've been following you for a long time, man. I think this might be one of the first conversations we've actually had. I've been following your work for a long time. We've chatted in the comments and stuff like that, but never, over live video. So thank you for coming. I know you and Kyron are in the same place, so I'm sure y'all have run into each other before.
Nope.
Nope.
Okay, you got to forget we're on the opposite end of California.
Yeah.
You forget how large California is sometimes.
How far is San Diego from Sacramento?
It's about
like
8 hours.
8-hour ride.
Yeah, drive.
8 hours?
Yeah,
Y'all are in the same state. How is that possible?
Big, man.
it's a large state.
Bro, that's ridiculous. Now I can understand y'all not running.
I think it's the whole left side of North America.
Yeah, y'all about the same distance from me. Y'all might as well be on a different coast.
Right.
That's crazy. Oh man. Okay. Well, welcome to the show. Thank you. Can you tell our audience a little bit about you, who you are and what you do in comics?
Well, like you said, my name is Keithan Jones. I'm based here in San Diego, California. I run a company or a publishing company called KID, which stands for The Kid in You Never Dies. Been running it since 2013, 2014. And I basically use it as a platform to put out my work as a cartoonist. Power Nights being my flagship book, because that's a book that I created years ago when I was a child. Around 11 years old, I created Power Nights. And it's just been with me all these years, even though I went off into graphic design for many years and did a lot of freelance work graphically. The comics never left me. Outside of comics, I do a show. I run a show, if you can see this, called Black Comics Day here in San Diego every February.
Wait, keep it up. We're going. There you go.
At this show, I try to gather as many professional Black creators in comics as possible for folks to come and see people from our community creating comics, writing comics, doing art, so on and so forth. Just Black-owned businesses and pop culture. This is the con to come to as far as San Diego, and that's something I've been doing 6 years now. And we have a show coming up again next February on February 2nd and 3rd.
Nice.
And then outside of that, not to be long-winded, but
it's fine.
I guess I shout out some of my clients here. I do art for this book called Me and Mr. Jones for a company up in Los Angeles called Thingamajig Studios. I'm just the artist for their book. And then I work for a Canadian studio called Vortex Comics, where I do a book called, let's see that, Chaos Breaker.
Nice.
I've been working doing the art for them for a good 5 years now. And they're actually a film company, a production company up in Canada, but their subsidiary is comics. And so I do work for them. And this book is available across the nation in your local comic shop. And then
Chaos Breakers.
And then of course my own book, Power Nights, which is available now on the website kid-comics.com. And I do everything in this book: the writing, the art, the colors, the inking, anything that's involved in the production of a comic. I'm a one-man band when it comes to this book. But I do have a co-writer, Noble Ward, who helps me out. And yeah, that's me, man. I got my hands in a lot of stuff. I was an Eisner judge. What was it? 2 years? Well, for the last 2 years, minus this year. First I was at your standard judge where I was judging just the comics in general. And then the following year they had me come back to judge the retail stores. So that was an interesting experience, and a lot of good folks over there saying they would come where it's held. And, so, but we can get into all of that as we go. But yeah, that's a little bit of what I do.
Oh, that's really great, man. I mean, you already sound like you're deep into comics just every day, all day. I do want to go back to Black Comics Day real quick because I've heard great things about that show. So
Good.
much so that I know people from New York and other states fly out to come to this show.
Sure.
So first off, how did you decide you want to do that? Like jump to being a convention host, and then how have you seen that grow over the past 6 years?
Well, first of all, it wasn't part of my plans. It fell in my lap, so to speak. My mother, she is well, if you know how libraries operate, they're part of a what do you call it? Nonprofit. They're nonprofit,
Mhm.
and they have branches called the Friends. I'm not sure if every library does it, but I know the ones here in San Diego do. But they're called the Friends of such and such library. And my mother's the Friends of the Malcolm X Library, the only Malcolm X library in the whole country. And for some odd reasons, it's in San Diego. And I say that because we have a very small Black community here. And so she asked me if I could do something for Black History Month, just to switch it up a little bit. And I was originally going to not do it. I didn't have time, and I didn't see any real avenue for doing anything at the library. But then I sat there and thought about, hey, wait a minute, you know, all of these years I've been going to San Diego Comic Con and these other cons, which are basically a smorgasbord of just comics in general. I figured, hey, this is an opportunity to bring comics to the Black community, or you know, at least introduce them to it, and hopefully turn some heads around into getting into the culture. And so I hooked up with them, and it was 2008, and I tell people all the time, I did not plan this date, but I chose a date in February kind of blindly, and it just so happened to be literally the day before the Black Panther movie premiered.
Oh, wow.
So we rode that wave right into the show. It premiered on a Friday, and Saturday was the day of the show, and the whole buzz leading up to that movie and the atmosphere that was going on led to a good turnout for a first-time show. And it's only gotten bigger every year. And for some reason, the artists that I got to come to the show, including folks like David Walker, John Jennings,
Wow.
the director of the X-Men animated series in the 90s. What is it?
Houston?
Yes, Larry Houston. And some other independent creators showed up. They didn't have to, but they did. And I made sure to make it a low, what I call a low gamble as far as the table. I only charged them $20 a table because I knew this was my first show.
That's why they showed up. Hey, I don't know where you can get a table in San Diego.
If no one showed up, I'm like, hey, you're only out of $20.
Yeah.
Right. But I put my heart into it. My team and I put my heart into promoting it. I did a lot of work on behind the scenes and making sure people showed up, because I figured there's an audience for it. They just need to know it's there. Yeah. And I figure any comic show that you put out there, there's an audience for it, but the real trick is to do the work on the promotional end.
Right.
And that's what I think really put us over the edge. And like I said, I didn't have time to really go around and see how the show was going. I was super busy myself with my own fan base and just making sure things go smoothly behind the scenes. But after the show was over, I just got all this great feedback. And I knew it went well because every artist, and I'm not lying, like every artist sold out.
Nice.
and it's been that way for the last 6 years. They either sell out or get close to selling out. And so, yeah, that's the origin of Black Comics Day.
Nice.
That's beautiful, man. I love, first of all, thank you for putting that show together. Second of all, I love to see, spaces that are made to, to support, Black comics, and it's always great seeing the pictures and the camaraderie. Coming from your show, like you said, David Walker, like he always does Heroes Con here in North Carolina, and I've gotten to see him, over the years, and we've had conversations, and then I know how he is, so I know how he is about supporting, Black owned ventures and things like that. So it's always great to see. But I wanted to comment on what you said earlier. I know, so you and Kyron have something in common. When you were talking about you're a one-man shop for that power, the Power Knights. Kyron is he's a force too, man. He does everything from writing to drawing to. I think the only thing he doesn't do is letter. Are you lettering?
I don't color either, though. So, but let's understand, like Keithan's here. I'm like,
well,
down here somewhere. But Keithan's up here.
Listen.
Same shops, but my shop is like on the bottom level of the 70-foot.
I do it out of necessity, though, for budgeting reasons. Like, if I had the budget, or if I were in a position to pay someone to ink and letter, I would for sure. Because the workload has only gotten more expansive for me, and at some point I am going to have to get some type of staff going. But it's hard. It's hard for me to do that because my clients specifically hire me for my art style. So I can't just have someone draw the stuff for me, because then that's not what they came to me for. They came to me specifically for the way I draw.
Right.
Like any artist, you hire them because you like their style and you want to get that flavor into whatever your project is. So if I do hire someone, it would be in the department of color and inking. And then even that is hard to do because I have tried before, and up to this point, it's a kind of a pet peeve of mine. Up to this point, a lot of folks in the indie community still have a lot to learn about the business of meeting deadlines, communicating, and just overall being professional. Yeah. And right now, unfortunately, like, I've run into guys who technically they can do the job, but they're not there mentally. Like, they want to, you email them and it takes them a week to get back to you, or not understand, hey man, I don't have, this is literally what I do to support myself and my family. Like, I wake up making comics. I don't go to a day job. I haven't gone to a day job in 6 years. So for me, it's my life, and it's real. It's not a hobby. So I need people who are hungry and people who are dedicated to treat it like a job, like a job.
Yeah, I mean that's what it is. It is a job.
Yeah,
you're getting paid, so it's a job.
Yeah, and it's a lot of work. And I think people see it from the outside. They think it's all fun and games, and then they see all the convention pictures, and they think it's all, oh look, it's it's glamorous. And I'm like, not really.
I saw a meme yesterday that made me laugh. Somebody posted a meme and said, we don't do this because it's fun. No, we don't do this because it's easy. We do it because we thought it was easy.
I saw that. Yeah, I saw that. That was a good post.
And I was like, bro, that's so true for so many things. But you really don't realize how much work goes into making comic books, and even the decisions that you have to make as a creator. Like you said, I create comics, but I know that I can't meet the deadlines of illustration, even though I like to draw and I'm okay at it. I know I cannot meet the deadlines for illustration. So I don't even, I will not put my art in these comic books unless, I've done it so far ahead of time that it's, what I'm saying, that it can meet the deadlines. But then you can have decisions to make, like when it comes to teams and stuff like that. We just had to, we have a colorist that we love, and she does great work. But I realized, we have her on 4 projects. There's no way that she's going to be able to hit these deadlines. So now I got to go out and find somebody else. You know, when you find somebody who can hit the deadlines, you know, it's hard to break away from them if you start, you know, now I can't, I ain't gonna put you on this fifth book because the work is gonna suffer. You know what I'm saying? So even not just the artists have to make those hard decisions and be more professional, but you know, sometimes we as the creators and editors of projects have to, you know, make hard decisions and you know, continue to try to find that good talent that hasn't been snatched up by Marvel and DC yet.
Yeah, you have to. I mean, it's standard to do the books. If you're doing it right, the books are should be done at least. I think at least 3 months in advance. Like the books already have to be done while you're advertising.
Mm.
That way, you're not false advertising. You're not leading your audience because you see those Kickstarters where you're waiting for your books forever. Because those guys,
Liefeld.
they're not thinking of they're not seeing around the corner, so to speak. They're not anticipating all the pitfalls you're going to run into because you're going to run into obstacles.
Yeah,
guaranteed. So you want to give yourself a cushion to give yourself and your team breathing space to get this stuff. Like you said, you don't want the quality to suffer. So you know you give them ample time to do this stuff. Especially if you're trying to do an ongoing series, you want to have the books, and you know you want to be have your stuff in the can, as they say, at least a few months in advance. That way, you're not sweating not sweating it, and you know a bunch of angry people wanting to know where their product is that they already paid for.
Yeah. And you say you've been doing comics for what 10? What would that be? 10 years now?
Well, professionally, my first professional gig was when I was 16.
Oh wow.
And but I didn't stay in comics from age. What was that?
So about 12 years ago.
Yep. I'll go with that. Yeah. No, it was crazy. I live here in San Diego, right? And Comic-Con has been going on. My understanding has been going on since the 70s or something like that.
Yeah.
And I didn't even know. I didn't know for years until my dad. I was 15 and he just dropped me off at the old convention center downtown San Diego. And he was like, go ahead and go in there. And I was like, what's this? Just go in there and gave me a couple of bucks. I went in there and I was like, are you kidding me?
Wait, can we take a moment to talk about how times have changed where there used to be time you just drop your kid off at the convention with some dollars and be like, I'll be back to get you. Like my mom did that too.
That's exactly what happened. And I had no idea what he was exposing me to, but I was glad he did because my mind was blown. You know, I was collecting comics all those years, and I didn't know that these folks were right there in my backyard this whole time, every summer. And so that experience taught me that, so you have to put a portfolio together to get a job with these folks. So then the next year, that's what I gathered all my little art, put it in the portfolio, and I went around. And my friend, who has a better memory than I do, he was with me, and he told me I talked to Frank Miller.
Oh wow!
Oh
yeah, Frank Miller was working on Dark Knight at the time.
Oh wow!
And this dovetails into what we were just talking about. Frank Miller looked at my stuff and he said, "You need to pick a discipline," because I was, I was even back then I was inking, coloring, and all that stuff. Right? Of course, I was coloring. This is before Photoshop, so my colors are right there on the page.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, "You got good stuff, but you need to pick a discipline because in comics, that's the editors hire that way, and they want to hire if you're really." It's the jack of all trades, but a master of none scenario. Mm-hmm. That was me. And so he told me that if you want to work, not independent of doing your own thing, but if you want to work for Marvel or DC, for instance, they prefer you to master one of the disciplines, inking, coloring, or penciling. And they'll hire you and gear your portfolio in that manner. So if you want to be a penciler, leave all the extra stuff out and just put those pencils in there. Your best stuff done, and let them look at that. Same with the inking and the lettering, and that way the editors, it's easier for the editors to key in on your talent, and then pair you up with an inker and a colorist and so on and so forth. And so I was a little despondent when he told me that, because in my eyes, I was like, I could do both. And I almost told him that, but I was like, you know, I'm 16. I'm like, whatever, old man.
Whatever,
And,
legend
he
in this
wasn't
game,
old
you
at
know.
the time. He wasn't old at the time. He was just older than me. So, you know, when you're a teenager, you think anyone that's over 25 is an old person. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what happened. But but later on in the day, in the indie company called Apple Comics hired me, and they put me on a short 8-page story for a Dracula book.
Oh, nice.
They hired me to do that, and come to find out later that it's an anthology book, and I come to find out later that Bernie Wrightson was one of the artists in that book.
Wow.
And I say find out later because it wasn't published right away after I finished, after I turned in work, because what ended up happening was I did the pencils and I asked them if I could ink it as well, and they were hesitant at first, and then they were like, based on my portfolio, they said, all right, go ahead, because I had these clean inks I showed them, right? So they were expecting that, but I got all happy feet about it, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna jam it up with all kinds of details. And back then, the printing process wasn't as advanced as it is today.
Mhm.
They were a little upset with me because they were like, man, if we print this, it's gonna come out muddy. We got all these tiny little details,
Mhm.
print well, and I wasn't completely understanding them at the time, and I didn't have any type of agent or anyone to a liaison to really help me negotiate my career at the time. And you know how it is in the Black community. It's not a whole lot of folks that are into this stuff. There
And
are
then,
people, obviously, there's Black folks into comics, but not. It wasn't a thing in the Black community where you could just talk comics to somebody in the family.
yeah,
I
you
had
sort of
no
had to hide it at that time, you know.
I had no one in the family, including my parents or brothers, to really talk shop and guide me where I needed to go and how to improve. So I was at the mercy of whatever adults told me,
Mhm.
because I was naive enough to believe it. Like, so for years, I didn't even think I was good enough because I thought when I didn't get hired, I just wasn't good enough. I didn't know till like my adult years that sometimes it's the luck of the draw and it's who you know. You know, you have the talent, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to get hired because of the politics going on behind the scene. But as in my child mind, I'm like, oh, I'm not Frank Miller, Arthur Adams level yet. I got to just go get better, and then they'll hire me.
Mhm.
I'm not realizing that in the adult world, it doesn't work exactly like that.
Not exactly.
Yeah, but yeah, I went off on a tangent there, but yeah.
So we have go ahead, Kyron.
Well, I was
Go
just
ahead.
gonna ask, do you remember what issue of that Dracula book it was? Like what number issue it was, or
If you Google it, it's called because then it ended up being printed in the 90s, and I went off to college. I wasn't even aware they printed the book when I found out about it, but I did a Google search and ordered it for myself. I found it on Google. It's I don't know the number, but it was called, I want to say, Daydreams and Nightmares of Dracula. If you Google that, I'm not, my art is not on the cover, but I think I might be the first story in the book, first or second story in the book.
okay?
Daydreams and Nightmares of Dracula from Apple Comics. Yeah, just Google that, and you'll see me listed in the credits.
I was just trying to look it up on eBay real quick just to see.
It might be on eBay too. I think.
Hey, find me a copy too, Kyron. I'll pay you.
All right.
I'll pay you to ship it over here.
Okay.
No, I was gonna ask. So, what do you think about the balance between like, your talent or skill that you developed and the networking aspect of professional comics? Like, how much would you say your success in comics and in the industry is reliant on? Would you say 90% talent and skill, and then 10% networking, or 90%? How would you say?
90% networking. No. 50%.
You got him stumped.
70% persistence, 40% talent.
Okay.
Ooh.
Persistence. Okay.
But Yeah, and that persistence includes will lead to meeting people. So when I say persistence, that means you have to that is networking and developing a relationship with an editor
Right.
and just not and just being a pest. Find somebody or find a company and key in on them until they break.
Yeah.
If that's the company you want to work for, and
I like
and
that.
don't be surprised if you get what you asked for and then regret it.
Like, oh,
I've been through the works, bro. Like when I lived in LA, because I left San Diego right to Cal Arts up in LA because I thought I was going to be a Disney animator, and I found out that I learned that I learned to animate and all that, and I found out that's not my bag. Like I don't want to sit here drawing. What was it? 20 drawings per second of film, something like that. And but during those years, and there's a whole movie in that whole adventure, that whole college experience. I could write a literal movie about what happened to me up in Los Angeles. But I was teen. This is okay. You remember back in the early '90s when Spike Lee, John Singleton were doing their thing, right? It was that first Afrofuturism wave, that whole first generation of Black creators, right? There was these two white dudes who teamed up with me because they needed an artist for a Black character they created. Because at the time that was the wave, right?
Okay.
They wanted to get in on the action. I think Image Comics was hot at the time, and Milestone hit the scene, so that whole energy was happening, right? Early '90s. They created a character called Black Thunder. He had the power of sound, right?
Okay.
Now I'm not now. I preface this by saying these guys weren't being malicious in their thinking or anything like that. They're truly naive about what they were doing.
Sure.
But they wanted to cash in. And they brought me in as a artist / designer. They showed me what they had, and I kid you not, the character was a brother, right, with a radio stuck in his chest.
Oh God!
No.
That was their initial idea. And
like the old school boombox, like
yes,
okay.
That's where the sound was emanating from.
Thunder. That's where the thunder
Radio
came.
stuck, a boombox stuck in the man's chest.
Just had the bass all up and everything, huh?
And I'm looking at it, and I think I was 19, 20 years old, right? And I was like, oh no, I'm not. I knew like, no, this ain't gonna fly, right? And I told them like, this is stereotypical. Let me redesign it. And they're like, oh, okay, yeah, go ahead. So I redesigned it. Instead, I took the radio out and I made vents. Like it almost looked like, looking back at it, it was kind of like the Dark Knight's costume a little bit in the movie.
Okay.
But the vents were where the sound came out of.
Okay.
And so I made them cool looking and all that. And so we took that. These guys had connections to all the major studios. So when I tell you I met all the big wigs at that time, we were up at Warner Brothers, we were up at Disney, we were up at Fox, all the studios, not like at the lobby knocking on the door trying to get a look, but these guys had me in the office, the top dog's office. That's the connect they had, right?
That's tough right there, man. Because I know I couldn't even get into Tyler Perry Studios over the weekend.
Right, it's tough. It's tough to do. So these guys, for sure, because I was there with them, had those connects. So we were talking. I don't know if you remember Doug. He's passed now, but George Jackson, he was the producer of New Jack City, House Party.
Okay.
Those movies and some other stuff. So George Jackson, he's looking at it, and he's like, he was real. He had a real loud voice and bubbly personality, big dude. Like, oh, this is great. Oh, this shit is good. All right, this is better than the folks that we're working with now over at DC. And he didn't know. I was like, oh, really? Who's that? But he wouldn't reveal who that was. And so in my mind, I'm like, so what's up? You know, sign it. Let me see a contract or something. You know, because I'm broke. I'm broke, and I'm driving around in the busted Volkswagen. So I'm hungry, right? And I'm just like, from the way he was going on about it, I'm thinking like, okay, this is it. He's gonna sign the contract. I'm in. And it just kept giving us the runaround. Like, I think we met the dude 3 times. And Danny, you were saying how hard it is to get in. He kind of explained that, like, it is hard to get in. Let me show you guys something. He got up from his desk, went to a closet in his office, opened it up, and I'm telling you, bro, that closet was stacked with folks sending in their concepts and scripts. Stuff,
Oh, wow.
stuff he didn't even glance. He just threw it in there. This is where this stuff, in his voice, this is where this shit usually goes.
Mm.
So you guys, you guys are lucky to be sitting here, and then I'm looking at this, but it is good. Blah 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 blah.
Mm-hmm.
And to show you how Hollywood works, after the meeting, this is the stuff that happens to me. After the meeting, I had my car. They went to lunch on Sunset Boulevard, right? And my car just so happened to be parked across the restaurant where they were eating.
Mm.
That doggone thing wouldn't start.
Oh,
And I'm
man.
in the car like, oh no, oh, not right now. Don't do this. Because they could see me. I know they saw me over there trying to get this car started. And I glanced over to George, right? Hey, brother man, it's a brother man. He's gonna help me out, right? He's a rich dude. He's gonna hook me up. I looked over to him, and when people try not to look at you, like, don't you even call my name.
He hit you with the
Exactly. And I was like, real?
Oh, man.
I'm sitting there like, oh my God, come on, car. And I finally got it started, but it taught me a lesson, like, it's business, bro.
Yeah.
We're not friends. We look alike. We come from the same community, but that don't mean nada. Like, you ain't nobody I'm going to be associated with until you are somebody.
Yeah.
And that's the reality of Hollywood, and that's the way it goes. And you accept it, So yeah, that was embarrassing.
Mm-hmm.
But it taught me a lesson at a young age. But to finish the story was, we ended up at Dark Horse when the studio for Dark Horse Comics up in LA. You remember that movie Barbed Wire with Pamela Anderson?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Back in the day.
Try to forget it, but yeah, remember it.
That was their first. I think that was their first movie they put out in the world, right?
Yeah, it was.
And so they had a studio out there, and we were sitting there with Mike Richardson of Dark Horse Comics, who I still know to this day. Mike was excited about Black Thunder to the point where he said, "This is great, fellas. I'm going to call you tomorrow. We'll drop the contract, give you a graphic novel, and then we'll segue into a script for a film." Man, I went home and told my mom, "Mom, I did it. I made it. They're going to call me tomorrow. They're going to call us tomorrow, and I'm going to be doing like the Hollywood thing and blah blah blah." And just excited, like Christmas was tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't hear from that dude for another 6 years before I saw him again. And so, yeah, it was a lot of that while I was living up there. So all of that, all of those experiences, and that's just the tip of the iceberg of what happened to me up there. But all of those experiences fed into what I'm doing today. I know the game. I've been around the folks. I know nothing means anything until you get a check. And it's not so much your talent, it's who you know.
Mm-hmm.
Don't burn your bridges. Don't be arrogant. You're going to be dealing with big egos, and I mean big egos. So don't don't feel like it's beneath yourself to like stroke some of these egos to get where you need, because you need to get to where you need to go. And you don't have time to be in your feelings about everything somebody says about you. You understand what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's how you advance in this game. And then when you get your foot in there, then you can flex a little bit and do what you want to do, but you got to build up to that, especially if you call yourself working for someone. You just have to never forget, like, this is not my company, it's not my money.
Mm-hmm.
So ultimately, it's like any other job. You have bosses to answer to, so you need to watch what you say and how you move, so that to protect your career. Now, if you are quote unquote real artist and you out there doing your thing and you run your own show, all bets are off. You do your thing, but even then, there's still consequences to your actions.
Yeah,
and I think a lot of young folks right now, unfortunately, they're led down the wrong path because somebody on YouTube told them to go this way and they should go the other way. You know what I mean?
I mean, that's true. There's a lot of people out there in social media
Yeah. Just all these folks running their mouth, don't know what you're talking about.
that have never done it. That
Yeah, they got you gassed up because they're telling you stuff that make you feel better about yourself,
you know,
but not about reality. And
yeah.
there's a difference. So yeah, I say all that to just say be careful when, especially in today's time, everything is public. All your business is out there.
Yeah.
And, so you need to protect your brand to get to
Yeah.
where you want to go.
I like it. All right. Well, I think this is the best point where we can transition to what everybody's favorite part of the show is, Danny's Quick Takes. Now, if you haven't seen our podcast or heard our podcast before, Danny's Quick Takes is sort of a rapid fire situation where Danny's going to have 5 questions for you. And he's going to give you 45 seconds to answer those questions off the top of your dome. And he's got some interesting questions. They're a little bit better than Morgan's were last week. So we will see how this goes. Are you ready?
I'm ready if you are.
All right. No, I'm not.
I see somebody in the comments saying,
Quick takes.
Wait, what'd you say in the comments?
I saw someone in the comments they're asking if I do San Diego Comic Con. I'm like, oh yeah, of course I do Comic Con every year.
Yeah.
Nice.
I was a special guest last year for Comic Con. That was the best experience ever because it was all expenses paid. They had me up in the Marriott and did the Eisner Awards and had a handler, fed me the whole 9 yards. I was like, man, y'all spoiled me, man. It's gonna be hard to come back.
I know. I love that. Okay, so here we go. Quick takes. Again, I love what you built with Kid Comics, and I love that we have you here. But I always hear you talk about the tagline, "The Kid in You." So I want you to, in 45 seconds, expand on the Kid in You and what's that mean for you and for your brand.
Okay, lightning round. The Kid in You Never Dies is based on the whole Power Knights, meaning that was the first book I ever did on my own, with my own characters and wrote for myself at age 11. And I say the Kid in You Never Dies because it really never did die, even though I went off to do professional art as a graphic designer to pay the bills. When the bosses weren't looking, I was still drawing those characters. Like I never stopped drawing them. I just wasn't doing anything with them for many years until the voice got so loud in my head. I was like, I need to make a decision: day job or passion job. And like I said, back in 2013, I took that leap of faith, and here I am.
I love it. Yeah, I love it. Excellent. Okay, so question number 2, and this one might be a little controversial, but ask it anyway. I know you do a lot. I see you got the light in the table right there to draw. So I know you're a traditional artist, but
AI, here we go.
Do you think do you think that there's a place for AI in comic books? Why? If yes, why? If no, why?
A place for AI. If I were to use AI, it would be for as a time-saving tool, as far as like conceptualizing how a view would look, and use it for reference or whatever. But first, I'll preface that by saying I don't use AI because I actually enjoy drawing, the process of drawing. So people are like, "Oh, it saves time," but I'm like, "You're missing the point. I like drawing. Why am I? What that defeats the purpose of what I'm doing. Like I like to draw and do stuff because it's therapeutic for me. That's what I like doing. So I'm like, why would I remove that element out of my life? So I don't know if that answers your question.
Yeah, I'm with you 100% on that. That's the best part. So, like I said, I don't do a lot of illustration, but when I do paint and when I do draw things, it's the therapy for me. Like I enjoy it. So why would I want to remove that part?
Right.
That's the best part of making stuff is drawing and creating something with your own 2 hands. So yeah, I'm with you on that. Okay. Question number 3. Okay, I know you're a big fan of comics, just like we are, but you also love to create. So if you could only from here on out be a fan or a creator, so You could either only consume comics,
Mm.
you know, from other people, or you could only make comics for other people from here on out. Which one would you choose and why?
Oh, make comics easy. Make comics because the greatest kick I get out of doing art is seeing how people react to it.
Mhm.
That's the payoff. Even because it's hard. Even though I enjoy drawing and making comics, it's a lot of hard work and it's very tedious. But the payoff is the response to, especially if it's a good response, because that gives you fuel to continue on. When you're creating art in a vacuum, or people, I do this for myself. Man, that's a bunch of BS. Do it for yourself. You might as well leave it in your head.
Mm.
You know,
Yeah.
it's too much work to just do for yourself. I don't get that. I never understood that notion, but yeah,
The
definitely making comics.
negative comments can be motivation too. I'm just saying. But okay. So
If it's constructive criticism,
if it's
Mm.
constructive,
it's just some D head.
yeah.
Yeah, we
Talk-
get those all the time.
Yeah, and
And
I don't respond to those folks to begin with, but
yeah.
yeah, that can really. I don't know about you, but you got to be in a certain comfortable headspace to create art. You can't be stressed and worried about some exterior problem. It messes with your vibe.
Okay, so as the founder and creator of Black Comics Day, um there's I don't know if you've seen this debate going on. Maybe it's just been on TikTok, but I've seen it for Black comics because I think we're in a new kind of wave for Black comic creators. And some people are saying, what are Black comics anyway? Do you have to be a Black person to create Black comics? Is it about the Black characters? Is it about a Black story? So what would you how would you define Black comics?
It's a good question. The creator themselves is black, right? Male or female, and it's coming from their headspace and their personal experiences. I don't like putting rules on artists, even if I don't agree with the artist, whether it's their politics or just their art in general. I don't believe in the whole trying to measure what makes you black. I don't like that. You do whatever comes to your heart. You just happen to be black, and that's how I approach comics. And but Black Comics Day, for instance, is a cultural event because it's coming. That event is designed for people in our community and outside of our community to experience our authentic voices. So it's a cultural experience. I know I just went over the time, but
That's all right.
it's people who have a problem with that. They can kick rocks because nobody gets upset on St. Patrick's Day or Cinco de Mayo. They don't put all that extra on it, right? They just accept it for what it is. So I look at it as restaurant, as food. Sometimes you want Chinese food, sometimes you want Japanese food, sometimes you want Italian, and you just that's the mood. That's what you're into at that for that particular day. But it's also it's a cultural experience. It's intellectual curiosity. It's like, oh, I get to. The world is more interesting when you delve into other cultures and see experience what other people are experiencing and get a piece of them. Why would you eat the same thing every day? That's boring. You know, and all these folks who want to put extra on top of it, want to inject what they're thinking and their negative thoughts. That's a them problem.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not looking at it like that. Black Comics Day is attended by everyone from all cultures. You know what I mean? It's not like it doesn't say Black comics for only Black folks invited.
Mm-hmm.
It's not set up for that.
That's right. I love it. Great answer. And yeah, don't worry about the time limit. It's just a suggestion. Okay, so number 5. So
I love how wait. I love how you say that on this question. Like right before you're answering this question, you will make. I love this now.
so I'm gonna preface this question because
Wait, and I'm gonna say I might have to dip out on during this question because I hate this question.
you don't have to. You don't have
No,
to.
I
You
hate
can
this
stay right
question
where you
already.
at,
Nope.
Kings fan.
This is the stupidest question ever.
So, you and I both are Lakers fans, okay? Now, I am a LeBron James fan, but I've said publicly I don't consider LeBron a top 5 Laker, because there's some great Laker players
Mhm.
That y'all bought.
that who've really impacted the Lakers organization. So, a lot of a lot of people in the comics know we do another show called Top 5 Live, where we always do a top 5 list. So, I want to know off the top of your head, who are your top 5 Laker players?
Man, number one spot, and I'm going by this not only includes their play style and their talent, but also their cultural impact, whether it's Los Angeles or just in general, or the just societal. Number one, Magic Johnson. Right, I think if you ask me to pick the most legendary Laker player, it would be him.
Yeah, cool.
Number two, Kobe Bryant, because he's my personal favorite basketball player of all time. I don't think he's the best as far as skill level, although he's up there. But he's my favorite player because he made me appreciate the sport itself. Whereas someone like Michael Jordan, I was a fan of Michael Jordan, the player, just him, right? And I would just watch the games because of him. But when Kobe came around, Kobe's dedication to the craft made me look at it as look at basketball as art. Like, oh wow, I never looked at it like that. Because he was so passionate about it that it made me respect the game as a whole, right? So we got Magic, Kobe. Is this top 5?
Top 5.
Kareem. LeBron is tough for me because LeBron he's what do you call it? I love LeBron, but LeBron is like almost like a special agent.
Right.
Everywhere he goes, he wins, but he's not from the mud.
Yeah, I think of LeBron as, and when I think of LeBron, I think of Cleveland first. So
yeah, he's not. Yeah, I don't consider him a true Laker.
Right.
No disrespect. Now, if he wins 2 more, like, all right, but still, I don't know. It's tough with LeBron.
Yeah,
but man, he's a good dude. Magic, Kobe,
first 3. After that, I would. It's really player's choice after that. Then last 2 spots and go to a bunch of people.
This is a horrible segment right now.
I want to say Gasol.
Okay.
I want to say Gasol.
No love for Ori, huh?
Last one. Did you say Ori?
Yeah.
Shot Rob.
Shaq?
Oh shoot! Yeah, Shaq.
That's why I would have went with Shaq.
Something big was lingering there. Shaq could find you and say something about it if you don't mention him.
Jerry West could have been in there. I mean,
Jerry West in there, but that was before my era. Like, I don't really want to. That was before me.
Yeah, I think that's a solid 5. Shaq and Gasol are good 4 and 5 there. I'll take that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great list. Like I said, I think LeBron is my favorite player, but I don't see him as a top 5 Laker, just because the brand is so big. Kyron is a Kings fan, so he just, for some reason, he just hates the Lakers. I don't get it. But
there's a bit of a rivalry there, especially in those early 2000 years.
Yeah,
for sure.
Controversy.
All right, are y'all done with your Laker love? Because I'm tired and sick now.
We're done. Thank you so much. That was Quick Takes. And this week, who's our new sponsor? Kyron. Kyron. Quick Takes brought to you by Dubby, who is now sponsoring our show. So thank you so much for that.
All right, Keithan, this has been amazing, except for the last 5 minutes of this top 5 crap. But this has been amazing to have you on.
Who's your favorite player, Kyron?
Just all-time favorite player, just a Kings player.
Yeah, your all-time favorite player.
I'll be honest, Magic Johnson is my all-time favorite player.
Wow, this dude.
I said, Magic Johnson, not the Laker, just Magic Johnson.
No, bro, you can't escape the Laker dynasty. No escaping it.
Yeah, no.
That's good to know. That's good to know.
It's between him and Hakeem. Those are my.
You know who I'm really not to go off on. I know you guys got to close the show, but I'm real excited to see what Hachimura does. He's got my eye on that dude.
Hachimura can go. He can really go.
Yeah,
can go.
I think people are sleeping on him a little bit.
Yeah.
Him and we'll see what Austin Reeves does. I'm still like, I like what I've seen, but
Yeah.
I need to see a little more. Like, are you for real? Are you for real?
I think to me it looks like he obviously knows how to play the game. So that's always good. It's always good to have real basketball players on the court. So I'm excited about this season for sure. Like they salvaged last season to me. I mean, they got they got way farther than I thought that they would. I'm okay.
I'm gonna be honest with you. The Lakers' only real problem, I don't care what anybody says, the Lakers' only real problem is Anthony Davis. He is the key to our success and our failure.
He could be so good, man. He could be so good. He's good.
Body doesn't hold up.
Yeah.
But if it did, I would have no worries. I'd be like, oh, we got it. But the dude has a physical problem with the banging. And I think he has a little bit of a mental, he needs a little more dog in him.
Yeah.
I just think he needs a little more dog in him. Like, I don't think
he's got the skill though. He could be so dominant.
Yeah. That's the one element that I loved about Kobe Bryant. You remember how Kobe on it? You remember how Kobe you remember how Kobe he would go down shooting, right? Like fourth quarter was his quarter. Like
I think it's the analytics have gotten into a lot of players' heads because they say, hey, if I'm not, lighting it up at the beginning of the game, maybe it's just not my night.
Every team thinks they're the Warriors now. Every team has adopted the Warriors game plan. I'm like, y'all are not Steph Curry.
Nobody is. Nobody is Steph Curry.
Stop trying to be what you're not and be what you are, and you might find some success. Like the Lakers,
y'all are not Domantas Sabonis.
Huh?
Y'all are not Domantas Sabonis. Ain't that one of the Kings players? I don't know. I was just trying to help Kyron out. I don't know.
No,
Lakers talk brought to you by
everyone's shooting threes. It drives me nuts. It's like they're forgetting about the fundamentals of the game, and it drives me nuts that they got big men out there shooting threes. Like, what is your big ass doing out here? It's so stupid.
I'm with you. Okay. All right, Kyron. You can close the show.
All right, Keithan. We want to give you a chance to let everybody know where they can get your work. So what is the best spot to buy your comics? What is the best spot to maybe catch you up on social media, things like that?
Power Nights can be purchased at kid-comics.com. Issue 1 is available now. Issue 2 should have been available already, but I've had so much of a heavy workload. It's very late, but my plan is to get it out this year because I have some shows coming up, and including Los Angeles. I'll be at LA Con when I get back into the convention scene, and I'll also be at the these are winter shows. I think LA Con's in December, and then also in December I will be at the Los Angeles African American Museum, I think it's called, doing their second show. And that's basically a Black comics show, which they first did last year, and they had Ryan Coogler as a special guest there last year. Okay. So I don't know who their special guest is going to be this year, but I'll be there. And then that leads into Black Comics Day, February 2nd and 3rd, which is a weekend, Saturday and Sunday. I'm on all the main sites. Instagram is KJ Kidcom. I don't know what the hell is going on at Twitter. I don't really mess with Twitter like that no more because that's chaos. I guess they got a new name
called X now.
X, yeah. Well,
that's so stupid.
So it's always gonna be
what my handle is over there anymore. I'm on Facebook under my name, Keithan Jones, and then the company Facebook page is Kid Comics Online. Facebook / Kid Comics Online. I'm on TikTok, I think just under my name. And so when you see this logo, that's like having a check mark. That's officially me. There you go. Okay. Yeah. And so I post what I'm doing regularly in the comics. I do updates, or I'll post things about what shows I'm about to attend and things like that. And I try to also impart some of my learned wisdom in making comics to whoever's interested, whether it's techniques or words of advice. I try to keep it positive. yeah, that's how I roll, and I'm always doing something.
Nice.
Love it.
All right, Danny. Where can people check you out and get your books?
The best place to find us is fourthwallpros.com. That's where you can buy all of the Ace Blade, King Supreme, and Lumberjacks comics. I saw somebody asking in the comments earlier. And then if you want to find me on social media, it's at the Ace Blade on all social media platforms. Kyron, where can people find you?
Not at a Lakers game for sure, but you can check out my books at tauruscomics.com. We are launching the Saw Lightning Wielder issue 4 Kickstarter this coming Monday, July 31st at 10 a.m.
At
Make sure you're there.
10:05 a.m.
10 a.m. Pacific.
10:05 a.m. Pacific time.
You know what? You want to be at 10:05? That's fine. I'm gonna let everybody know. First person that gets their
They don't need to know what the first person gets. They don't need to know.
first person that is a pledger on the Kickstarter will get a sketch cover by me.
That'll be me.
First the next 3 people after that are gonna get sketch cards by me. So
It's gonna be me.
you know.
I'll be in the top 5 at least.
Okay.
I'll be
All right.
in the top 5.
All right, fine. And now, if this is your first time checking out the Four Tails podcast, you can go back and to our website, fourtailspodcast.com. That's the number 4, TALES podcast.com. You can listen to our previous episodes. Check us out on YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, all that good stuff at the same moniker of Four Tails Podcast. And join us next week where we are going to have Catherine Calamia on the show talking about their books. And, we're going to have a good time, just like we did with Keithan today. But what you gonna say? No? Okay. All right. Until next time, sayonara, goodbye, and everybody, please take care of yourselves.
Thanks for having me, guys. Appreciate it.
I want to know what it is Quick is trying to say.